Martial art is not only technical aspect. It's combined with mind, body, and spirit.
Two different words. Martial, having everything to do with fighting and war. Art, the creative mind of man.
If you look at the Chinese word of martial art, they have two words combined. One is saying stop, hold it, and the other one is fighting. If you can use the art to stop aggression, stop violence, stop fighting, you are actually performing the true meaning of the word.
A warrior is not just one that's a soldier, because there are many soldiers that have never been to war. But a warrior is one that has experienced the battle.
All the martial arts styles emanate from Kung Fu. A man named Bodhidharma came from India. During his travels, he stayed at the Shaolin Temple for a number of years, and he taught them some techniques he'd learned in India, which then developed. He also taught them Buddha at the same time. When the martial arts and when Buddhism spread down to the peninsula, to Korea and off to the islands, it was affected by the peculiarities of the cultures that it was introduced into.
Imitation is flattery, and in the martial arts, imitation led to mutation. The location and surroundings of the dojo would affect how the discipline was practiced. Spirituality, military initiative, and overall cultural variances would profoundly affect the ways in which the martial arts evolved.
In Korea, as if it's Japan or any other country, you're limited to that one style of art. In the United States, there's so many different forms of martial art. So it opens up the possibility for a Taekwondo practitioner to see and learn and understand many different arts as well.
In 1987, I came to United States. That time is not a lot of people know Tai Chi or internal martial arts very much, but now it's getting more popular. But the internal martial arts is different with the external martial arts because it's really to build up your energy, and also it's between your body and your mind and your spirit. I think here Western people is more sensitive for the Qi feeling. So teach here is more easier than teach in China.
America's contribution is that we've been the place for all these fabulous Eastern martial artists to bring their culture, to bring their martial arts ways, to bring their Eastern philosophy and their wisdom. And I believe that we wouldn't have anywhere near the martial arts system that we have today if we didn't have that melting pot influence from all these different countries.
Not just the grappling, or not just the kickboxing, not just the full contact, not the taekwondo. It's making yourself as versatile as one possibly can, and that's what the martial arts is all about.
If you sit there and you stay close, say, well, my style and my thing is the only thing, and this is the best, and this is going to work no matter what, I'm sorry, you're lying to yourselves and to your students.
The modern revolution in martial arts has led to increased tension between the practitioners of the time-honored pure forms and those who engage in today's progressive amalgam of styles. Is it art or is it a sport? Does change pay respect or disrespect to all that has preceded it?
Some people might look at what I'm doing. I'm taking this ancient, 34 generation old family art and updating it for the 21st century. And they might say, well,
he just tackles me,
aren't you spoiling it? What was the point of this? Why was it invented in the first place?
Technique. If I'm being pushed away, I catch the hands here. I've got to be able to move with just the right timing and pieces here. Locking that leg up. Oh, he's going down. Maybe he's going to grab my ankle. I need to make him come back up.
What's it going to take today to live up to the original vision of that original founder back in the 1100s? Ironically, I think to be teaching this martial art in its full, authentic way, I have to update it in order for it to be pure.
Nobody can stop martial art change because human in learning martial art in the beginning, they want to fight. So fight is that small. But later on, 1,000 years later, human learning martial arts is not just a fight, they're training. So they start movement, the bigger one. So the circulation is better than before because the goal changed.
The concept of many martial arts is to deliver a single lethal blow. By the late 1950s, point fighting tournaments began to test this theory. Combatants would hold back the full power of their strike, and judges would score based on their supposed destructive ability.
In 1961 in America, you had point fighting. In the beginning, very little kicking. Not a lot, it was mostly hands. And as time went on, you started seeing a lot more kicking and a variety of kicking because each system had different kicks.
In the early days, karate matches, they were pretty tough. All you wore was a canvas hand pad and a groin protector and a mouthpiece. That was about it. And you hit hard, full power to the body. So in the early days, it was rough and tumble, but it made you good.
When we were competing against guys like Joe Louis or Bill Wass, you got tagged, you got ribs broken. I got my jaw broken, I got my ribs broken twice. You got a reverse punch inside your rib. You didn't have padding, you had knuckle to bone.
Back in the days when 65, 68 to 73, you were out there being physical, you were an athlete. Now it's like a game where you dive in like this with your head, and that's the point.
They took away the weapons from the warrior. You cannot sweep, you cannot kick to the tutu, you cannot this, you cannot that, you can't do rich hands, you can't. So the only thing you're doing is back knuckles, reverse punches. Back knuckles, reverse punches.
We have so much problem with the insurance and the injury, so people start to get into more weaker. So pretty soon we call it touching game, which one the fast touch. Then we lost one blow to kill.
I think the competitors are as good as they ever were. It's just that with the padding, the techniques, they might not look as sharp because everyone seems to be over padded.
In tag contests, sometimes it's deceiving because you think you can really do full contact from the tag contest, and it's a different game.
You got to be humble. I have heard stories in our class where a lower student wanted to challenge a higher bill and said, I could take you. That's not our way. Everybody understands?
Martial art without philosophy is merely street fight. That's the least thing that I would be involved. And so, nothing is good and evil until how you use it. If the money is good, if you use a good purpose, it can be used in the wrong purpose. Even love is basically good, but loving next to our neighbor's wife is evil. And so we can use martial arts for good purpose.
Without the philosophy of martial art. Technical doesn't mean a thing. You learn the technique without coordination with your body and spirit. The technique doesn't work. We never change the principles, the philosophies, and discipline, and respect.
To me, I think the martial arts has a lot more to offer than just being able to fight, because fighting is just one aspect. For me as a teacher, it's more important to train somebody who becomes a better person than just a better fighter. From here, like this, if you miss your shot, you go straight back into a palm attack. If he's quick enough to get the shot on, you block, he's coming for a second one from here. And then again, you're in kind of range, where you can do damage to the guy and it's hard for him to counter.
Earlier this year, my sensei, Robert Pete Sr., passed away. If not for this man, I would not have been. I remember when as a kid, he goes, let me tell you something, Pete. He goes, you're getting very good. As I'm growing up, he goes, but I pray you don't become a bully. I said, no, Sensei, he's scared I'll get a bully out of you. He goes, because let me tell you something, there are a lot of great fighters out there, just like you, and even better. Ooh, that one hurt, you know what I'm saying? And even better than you. He goes, but here's the deal. If you go out there pushing your weight, you'll meet them. You'll meet the guy who's better than you. He goes, if you go out there and you never push your weight, you never will.
The wushu videos that we have are direct from China, the Republic of China. And the performances on those tapes are so awe-inspiring. It's unbelievable.
还要用大锤砸下去，就算砸不碎老头儿，也会扭伤脖子。哇，孙女士的头功的确了得吧？啊？一下，两下，哇！ 局胜，我都不敢看了。哎呦，哎呀，头颅都顶着鹰枪的枪尖儿。哇，这个项目相当危险，除了要平衡之外，还要考那边发力，这边呢受力，由轻到重。
These people grow up with the martial arts. Wushu is their life. If that were to happen here, you'd get arrested for child abuse.
In China, harder than the States because in States, people just like it, then they need to have a job, they have a family, they need to go to school, then they're training, 2 hours, maybe 3 times a week. But in China, a lot of students training 8 hours a day, still on their, still training 8 hours a day. So that's why they're so hard. I remember once we need to put my legs on the wall, just like that, for 4 hours. So 4 hours. Then the teacher is gone. We don't know where is the teacher. But we scared the teacher, anytime maybe he come back. So we still keep the leg on the wall for 4 hours. After 4 hours, that's the whole training. Nothing, just one leg put on the wall. After that, we're walking like a dog. Maybe just couldn't walk.
In those days, the masters do not sort of go on hands-on to deal with the students. Usually, it's the senior student teaching the junior students, and it was never allowed for anyone to ask questions unless you were talked to. You would never talk to your master.
When Bob Jones and I went into Kai, we would do probably minimum of 45-minute warm-up. I mean, I'm talking hundreds of sit-ups, hundreds of squats, hundreds of push-ups. They were the days when if 10 people dropped out, 20 wanted to join. So then comes the days where there's a school on every street corner. It's not about really what the art used to be.
You want to buy a black belt, it costs you $2,000. You want to buy a brown belt, it costs you this. It's about money. You can buy your black belt in the mail. And then you have schools, every 3 months, you're guaranteed a rank.
The guy in the office, he don't really want to whoop nobody's butt, but he wants to say, hey, Tony, on the golf course, guess what? I'm a black belt. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that's great. I got a brown one myself. No, Tony, karate, watch yourself.
I've had confrontations with a couple of black belts in whatever art they do, and it's kind of useless stuff. They're giving out black belts like, you know, potato chips on the corner. That's the good thing about jiu-jitsu. You have to go for a long time before you even get a blue belt. That's the first belt. I mean, you have to beat everyone in the gym before they give you a belt to get promoted. There's some schools where they kind of hand them out. It's more like going to church. You go to your training, the family's there, the moms are there, and it's beautiful, and it's sifu, and here's your belt, good work. It could be very internal and very, very helpful for their life, but as far as combat goes, I think, you know, there's a lot of black belts that are overrated, yeah. Getting a body shot from a professional fighter, one shot, I don't think there's many black belts that have actually felt that. Just a nice, simple shot.
While the tenets of the martial arts have literally been lauded for centuries, detractors question the effectiveness of the training as it relates to the real world. Will the techniques stand up when there are no holds barred?
Self-defense like skydiving, okay? Go up in that plane, okay? For damn sure, one, your instructor better had jumped out of that plane quite a few times, right? Two, know what he's talking about. Three, know how to train you, right? And four, your parachute better work, okay? Otherwise, right? So why is self-defense any different? It's no different.
There's movements, a different series that they learn where it's slapping movements. Again, breaking. If it doesn't work, and if you're into self-defense, not tradition, not culture, if you really want self-defense, then question what works, what doesn't work.
I was a bodyguard, personal bodyguard for 20 years with bands like Linda Ronstadt, James Taylor, Rolling Stones, Fleetwood Mac, on it goes. And I realized right at the beginning that my art has to involve a certain practical side to it. And what I realized with a lot of the traditional arts is that a lot of it is theoretical. It has its own purposes within the dojo, but the street and what happens in this environment is a very, very different sort of environment. It's a different scenario.
Running is the best self-defense, but at the same time, what are you going to do if your back, you know, is up against that wall and you're cornered and you're trying to talk you out of it, trying to get away, you can't get away? Then what do you got to do? You got to go through that guy.
I learned a lot of things the hard way because in my neighborhood I had one big plus and one big minus. The big plus was, whatever you learn, you get to use it. The minus was, whatever you learn, you had to use it. And if it didn't work, you found out very quickly.
I've been in more street fights than most, and each time I've never defended myself like I would do in a form. You're not going to be in a perfect stance, and you're not going to have that perfect kick.
And action! On the filming, you know, you can create looks like a body, you know, and beautiful, you know, action. On the street fight, very fast, you know, and then you don't have time to do that.
I tell my students, if you go out in the street and you're out there and you have to protect your family, side kick or spinning back kick to somebody's solar plexus, it's a waste of time. The first thing I'm going to do is side kick your knees. I'm going to try and break your legs out. And the second thing I'm probably going to do is try to take your eyes out by sticking my fingers in your eye.
Problem with self-defense is that merely the name of it, self-defense, almost sounds as though I have to wait for you to punch. I'm going to perform a nice block and then I'm going to counterattack. If I thought in the next 2 or 3 seconds that you're going to try and hit me, I'm going to hit you first. If the average person could see how good a lot of these street fighters are, they have 1 or 2 techniques, probably, that they've done all their lives, that have worked for them or not, but they're so damn good at it. And if you get hit by that 1 or 2 wonderful techniques, Forget about it. You're not going to block. You're not going to come back. I don't care what anybody said. I've seen it too much.
If you got the heart to fight, a lot of times you will win. I know a lot of people are good martial artists, but they don't have the heart.
Really measure yourself, know your enemy, know yourself, and really understand what you can do or you cannot do.
The problem with the application of these techniques is that we often do the theoretical practice of them. We do forms, but we don't actually apply the practice in battle. And when we don't apply the practice in battle, it's all theoretical. So until you actually find combative situations from different angles, things that would, people bringing you to the ground, you're not going to have success. And that takes a lot of time to take it from innate knowledge into practical knowledge.
In my Kung Fu training, you know, a lot of people tend to say that Kung Fu has is good, but it, you know, it's too soft. But one thing about Kung Fu is that when you use it as far as a self-defense, you can't necessarily always come hard. You have to go with the punch or go with the block and then strike. You know, now with Wushu, a lot of people tend to say, well, a lot of high kicks and a lot of fast circular moves and things, it might not have any practical applications, but even in my training, like even if you see me do a no-hand cartwheel, I still can, you know, strike at a person. Because it's all about your visual perception of where the attacker is or where your opponent is, and you just focus on that and strike. All of these are blocks, strikes, you know, punches, grabs, different turns and pulling. So, you know, I've had a lot of pressure on me competing on a national circuit, where they say my Wushu has a lot of gymnastics in it. But then if you can use it where you can defend yourself, then it has every application rather than a regular reverse punch or a back kick or a front kick. So a lot of times people have asked me, does it work? And I always say, well, attack.
To many, the softer arts such as Aikido may seem non-functional as a self-defense, but when employed by a skilled practitioner, the results can effectively disarm an enemy. Strikes, wrist locks, and chokes complement the idea of using an opponent's own power against himself.
When I was a child, just like you, the reality was that if you kicked somebody, that was dirty fighting. As the martial arts influenced people, started to realize that they can do as much or more with their legs than they can their hands, the kicking has changed its total image from dirty fighting to appropriate fighting.
As expected, with the diversity of styles in martial arts comes a myriad of opinions as to exactly whose kick prevails in ferocity and effectiveness.
To me, the most effective kick is basically anything has to do with thrusting, power kicking. For instance, you have the Muay Thai kickboxers. Their round kicks have the most powerful round kicks because the way they torque their hips into it. But then you have Shotokan, you have the ball kicks. They have the most powerful ball kicks because every day they're thrusting their hip forward. And also side kicks. Don Wilson's side kick, or his side kicks, very powerful.
That's the one. That hits under the chin or the nose. It's pretty much a bad day for my opponent.
But, you know, the jet has the most powerful spinning back kick.
You gotta build up that. Oh, look at that spinning back kick.
When you're throwing a spinning back kick, your hips aim and you have little pockets where that's where your foot should come straight out. That means your groins are always protected.
He has a lot of good. Look at that spinning back kick.
Spinning side kick, is when your knee comes up, in which most people, taekwondos, throw a spinning side kick. And it's a spinning side kick. I've had my cup broken that way.
Wow.
So I don't do a spinning side kick, I do a spinning back kick.
Back kick, that went in. Then he followed.
But you find actually a lot of taekwondos, they have spinning back kicks that are very powerful, very quick, and straight in.
We want to use combination and kick and kick, kick. Always combination, kick and kick. Always recoil. That way you get many combination moves. Muay Thai usually only one kick. That's what they do, and then follow the punch. And I think they are very sloppy. You see the sloppiness.
When a karate man comes up, or a taekwondo stylist come up, and they throw a roundhouse kick, they come up and they back and down again. They snap it, bring it back. When a Muay Thai fighter throws a kick, he penetrates to rip your head off. There's no pretense in this technique. The art is in the effectiveness of the technique.
Now,
good. Whoa! So when they throw a high kick to your head, boom, they hope into like go 360, rip your head off. You're going to the leg, like very few arts to kick to the legs. And due to the legs, it's always a snapping technique. With Muay Thai, when they kick to your leg, they're kicking, boom, to break that leg.
A lot of guys they look at who are clowns, they're karate guys, who say, oh, we kick to the legs, taekwondo, we kick to the legs. They don't know how to kick to the legs. The kicks don't have the same type of power Muay Thai kicks. You take a guy 135 Muay Thai, kick so hard, can break bones.
Kickboxing and the boxing brought reality to the martial arts.
In 1967, Black Belt Magazine did a test. They had a pad and they measured the impact of a hit. And that hit was, they were doing a karate hit, and against the boxer's hit. No comparison. The boxer's hit was way above the karate hit. But you know what? They're still punching that way. They're still training that way, because that's the way they're taught, and that's tradition, and that's culture.
Force equals mass times acceleration. So the first year and a half I spent in the ring with the boxers, and I'd already won the Southeast U.S. title. I had won 3 U.S. titles, and I proceeded to get my head bashed for a year and a half by the boxers that I trained with. In analyzing exactly why that happened, we realized that the boxers really use a lot of mass when they punch. We in the martial arts learned how to get good acceleration when we punched, but we didn't really put our body mass behind it.
The point fighting system, which had been governing most arenas of competition, was in the early 70s deemed old-fashioned. No longer was a mere point on a scoreboard a satisfactory reward for the modern warriors. Their mental prowess and physical conditioning had reached an apex, and so the logical step forward to full contact fighting was initiated.
Well, Bill's the pioneer. I mean, he's the one that paved the way. He could do with his left leg just amazing feats.
And Ecolas and his corner did not appreciate it. That's a beautiful left arm kick. Boxing pull us down.
Bill's kicks were clocked higher than 70, more like 100 miles an hour.
Speed is maybe third or fourth. Timing and distancing are the most important things. You know, there's a lot of guys that were fast. A lot of guys that are just as fast as I am. But one thing that I think I did have when I was fighting, I have really good superb distance and timing.
That did not land on his face, but it was a good-looking kick. You see the crowd loves those kicks. Work. That's right. Did that land? No, that was a good-looking kick. The crowd loves it. Oh, that one did land. That Wallace kick did land.
You know, I really enjoy kicking people in the head. It makes me feel really good. And the more I kick them, the better I feel.
Yeah, about it. Didn't hurt. So round 5 is...
You know, in my whole career, I had 5 weapons. The side kick, the roundhouse kick, and the hook kick, the jab, and the left hook. That's all. Because my right leg was bad, I'd have to face left side forward to protect the knee. The side, the round hook kick look exactly the same, till I straighten it out. So you got, what, that far to react to decide what kick I'm throwing. Up until now, thank God, you've decided to block the wrong technique. Besides, I kind of help you by making you react to movements also. The jab and the hook, because I'm sideways, I don't give you a target to counter.
Now continues, and Nicolas, second round, and Wallace scoring with a straight left hand, and Nicolas is down for the second time in this round.
For a martial artist to become a professional athlete or a kickboxer, you know, it takes mainly, I'd say 70–80% of it is just dedication.
Guy intended to go anywhere in the world, fight under anybody's rules, even though he knew the judges were against him and he didn't have a chance unless he really hurt the guy. Spot him 10 and 15 and 20 pounds. He'd climb in the ring with a fever. He'd climb in the ring with 2 broken hands. Nothing ever stopped him.
If I was fighting myself, it would be a difficult fight to train for because the ambidextrous, the side stance is awkward. Most guys don't fight in the side stance.
I think one of the big questions...
You know, I've got a lot of ring experience. I'll be honest, most of my fights, a lot of the good fighters I fought, everything went my way on that given night. You know, Maurice Smith, James Waring, Alexio, Terrio, a lot of the guys I fought, things could go the other way. But they did.
Nice combinations. Out of the corner.
Oh, I think that
left hooks. That caught him.
left, right. Oh, that's a headlock. That's hurting. He is hurt. Oh, he's down.
I personally feel Benny Urquidez is the greatest full contact kickboxing champion of all times. But Benny fought every kickboxer, every style. You tell him where you wanted him to be, he was there and he was always prepared.
They fought with me because I wanted to wear long pants and they wanted me to put on traditional tie shorts and I wouldn't do it. And I said, finally I said, I'm going home. If I can't wear my long pants, I'm going home. So they just said, doesn't matter. Suzuki's gonna knock me out anyway, so it didn't matter to them. They said, fine. So I know they told Suzuki to try to finish me off fast. I was having fun. So I took up my axe. In the 5th round, I started chopping.
Good high round kick followed by Benny's left. He's down. He's down. Benny hit him with several combinations. The mouthpiece is out. Benny right back on him again. Combination lefts, rights to the head. And he's down again, second time.
In the United States, definitely we'd stop the fight here. His corner is saying, get back in there, and I think he's saying, you get back in there.
He looks like he's had it. Should stop it.
No, they're
gonna let him go on
again.
Benny right on. He knows he's got him on Dream Street. Look at that left.
He's not going to get it from that. That's it. I am the winner.
Indeed.
No sooner than I finished him, knocked him out, Okawa jumped in the ring. I don't know what he was saying, but he was pointing this and that. And so the interpreter asked me, you know, what do you think about fighting Okawa? And I said, what's the difference? And he said, well, do you know who Okawa is? And I said, was I supposed to? I have no idea who he is or what he is. All I know is he challenged me. I accept. So when I got in there, he looked much bigger than me. His thighs, his calves. I said, are you sure this guy, man, is at 140?
Like many of the other fighters in Japan, they're tremendous right hand.
That doesn't happen often. Look at Benny. He's right back up, smile.
As I dropped, I looked up at him. He had a little smirk on his face. And I looked down at my brother. My brother goes, I jumped up. I said, now we're going to fight. And this guy threw me across the ring. Every blow he hits, I can feel it. He is very strong. So my brother said, so what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to have fun. The round came. My brother said, take off the axe, start chopping. Then when I came back, I told my brother, his chin is weak. He said, then zero in on him.
Urquidez is given notice to the world that he'll fight anywhere in the world. That's the only way you're ever going to establish real world champions in professional karate. He's the first one. He'll go anywhere.
Nice combinations there.
Oh, now
Benny's getting serious.
He's felt it now.
Listen to that crowd going crazy. Look at Benny throw those combinations. Lefts, rights, all to the head.
He's got a taste of it now. He's on it. I can't count the punches and kicks that are coming in.
Look at those combinations. Sugar Ray Leonard's
trying to come back.
Sugar Ray Leonard with feet. Look at him go. Beautiful.
Wants to hang on. Urquidez says no.
He says it's
time, baby. It's time. Thrust kick. Oh, look at that right.
I jumped on him and I didn't stop. All the way up until I knew that he couldn't stand no more. I'm a good finisher, but I'm not the kind of person that would do it to try to hurt somebody.
In the early 1990s, 1993 as a matter of fact, Mr. Ishii put together a tournament format called the K1, which features the best heavyweight stand-up fighters fighting with gloves and with knees, no elbows, in tournament fashion, which has turned into pretty much the creme de la creme, the Cadillac, the Coupe de Ville of stand-up fighting known around the world.
With the average fighter weighing 230 pounds, the power of K1 is tremendous.
I think K1 is one of the most spectacular events in the world. It's more spectacular than UFC, more spectacular than everything. 80–85% of all the matches at the K1 is finished by the way of KO.
K1, they have a tremendous amount of knockouts because in a tournament format, let's say you've got to fight 3 fights, and you can get banged up, your knees, your shins, your everything. They want to get that fight over quick. So they'll go out and rather than dance around, stick and move and work some strategy, they'll go out and try and figure the guy's chink in his armor really quick and knock him out. Most of the great fighters in K1 have come from Europe, predominantly Holland. The 2 greatest fighters in K1 history, in my opinion, Peter Arts and Ernesto Hoost, both from Holland. They have both won the K1 multiple times.
Combining a variety of martial arts stand-up disciplines, K1 appears to be well on its way to establishing itself as a sport in America.
I really, really do feel every woman should know some sort of self-defense because the situation, the society is so dangerous, and just by knowing a little bit, sometimes that can save your life. Self-defense is probably one of the easiest things a woman can learn.
Women have special things like fingernails and high heel shoes that they can use as great protection. And if they just would learn even one class just so that they know a little bit. And even their keys on the way to the car. It's great protection for a woman that they always have on them. And I think every woman needs to learn a little bit just in case they're in that situation.
Because when it happens, the guy's trying to get her on the ground. He's physically stronger than her, but if there's no weapon, which in 80% of the rapes, there's usually no weapon, it's just verbal threats. She needs to be on the ground, using her legs, her lower body strength against his upper body, which is a good trade. Standing up, getting hit. She did Taekwondo where she's thinking she's going to punch and kick with that guy, and she was wrong. Because what criminals do, they get control, and they get control fast, and they get control by hurting you. You see, they don't do wrist grabs and lapel grabs. They get control fast. Because if they're trying to grab your wrist, you're going to start resisting, you're going to start attracting attention. They got to get control fast, so they got to hurt you fast, get you on the ground, boom, now the shock's in, they've already controlled you or you're unconscious, now they can do what they want to do.
It doesn't matter how much self-defense any woman knows. She is always going to have a hard time against the average man, the average size guy. For the record, the average rapist is 145 to 165 pounds. He's not a huge, powerful man.
But one of the things I'm so thankful that my father did with me growing up is he always pushed me to train with men, because you need to feel a man's energy.
Don't really agitate your arm right now, just kind of simulate it.
Woman's being attacked, she has one choice to make. Who's going to the hospital and who's going home?
If you're ever near his ear, you're gonna take here and rip the sucker off, twist, like rip it off, okay? If you're by his neck, you're gonna take a bite out of him, right? Your hands by his face, you're gonna put your finger down and take it out, right? And I say, if you can do that, then I can begin to teach you how to fight seriously. I teach weapons at a very early stage because I know a lot of dead people. Some of them are 5th-degree black belts. I've been told that something like 85% of the homicides are done with a stabbing, cutting type instrument.
My philosophy is this: if the guy has a knife, I have a gun. If he has a knife and I don't have a gun, I'll throw a chair, whatever I can throw and get out of there. Because now that I'm older, I've seen what can happen with one knife, and you can die real quick.
And I've always been asked, so what would you do if a guy brought a knife at you? It happened to me before, and I defended myself. Successfully. Now you can say, well, maybe that guy wasn't so hot with the knife. Maybe we could say that, right? What would you do if a guy brought a gun to you? It depends on the situation. If you think, well, you look around, this guy really don't want to kill nobody, he wants a couple of dollars, maybe yeah, there you go.
If he's gonna really shoot you, just turn, back 1, 2, 3, and then turn it and go forward.
I honestly believe that, you know, within the proximity of this and this, that it's absolutely possible to take care of a gun.
If you're at a distance where I cannot touch it, sure, what do you want? Give you anything you want. The moment you're in range of me, I take you out.
Bigger guy have a white shirt and underneath he have a gun 45, big. He pull him up, he pull, and he jerk like that. That moment, I said, whoa, I kicked the inside crossing kick. Boom, he shot them. And same time, I kicked him. And then I punched the guy. When I punched him, he fell down, he get up. And he picked up the gun and tried to run. I tried to chase him, and I couldn't move. I look at it, I got shot. Very lucky, I just go through my foot. I'll show you right leg. Right here.
The best way to defend oneself is to see the danger ahead of time and then set our life up to where the danger just misses us.
Since its inception, grappling has always been a part of martial arts, but the 60s, 70s, and 80s saw this popularity overtaken by stand-up fighters. Today, that popularity has returned, and there's a renewed interest in the effectiveness of grappling and ground fighting. Techniques in jiu-jitsu, judo, and wrestling have turned the martial arts world upside down.
My family has done this in Brazil for many, many years. And again, half of the population love the gracies and the other half hate the gracies. It's only natural, you can't please everybody. And the challenge for us is it's a moral issue. I have to make myself available to prove that everything I'm teaching my students is true, it's honest.
Right now, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is very popular because there aren't that many instructors who are qualified to teach it.
As soon as you start doing this, I'm going to be doing this move. Step back with this leg, right here, so that I can't pull you over. Right. The techniques we have here are very simple. The moves are extremely simple. One of the difficulties we have is we have to remind the students that it's so simple that they should not complicate the things by trying to use too much strength, trying to perform at high speed. That's what throws them off. Leg up, I'm doing this. The chances are that the person who's going to pick a fight with you is going to be bigger, heavier, and stronger than you are. I want to close the distance. I want to bring the guy to the ground. Because once we are on the ground, size and strength kind of diminish. That space between him and I kind of gets closer.
When I asked my first teacher, I said, Sifu, what do you do if you're actually using Wing Chun, and how do you do a break fall? He said, why? I said, well, I just was wondering if Wing Chun has a break fall. And he says, oh, no, you got it wrong. He says, in Wing Chun, the other guy's supposed to fall down, not you. But in a real fight, it's not realistic. I think whatever you can bring to the table is good. I've studied some of the Chin, a little bit of jiu-jitsu, but I wouldn't call myself a grappler. But the thing is, it's always good to know what people can do to you, and that gives you the ability to counter it.
The general perception is each martial art is good on their own thing. You can't compete against one another because the rules are different. And I said, wait a minute, what rules? What rules on the street? That's why I developed the concept for the Ultimate Fighting Championship. The public loved the concept because now it's time to separate the sheep from the goats. You know?
It's not an art and it's not a sport. It's just a tough man contest with, making some money and that's it.
It's a good test for martial artists. I think it's good to wake some of the martial artists up.
Footwork is everything. If you're the fastest guy punching, if you can't move in and close the distance to get into that guy's area to punch him, then you'll never hit anybody. I don't care how fast you are.
I like the Ultimate Challenge because it tells you what is real. I use that as my lesson plan. I got videos why this guy got taken down and why he lost. And then I tell him because he did this and did that.
They look more brutal than they really are. Fighters that compete on no-hold bar actually will sustain less injuries than boxers, for example, because of the repetitive motions. The gloves in boxing, they protect the fighter's hand. They don't protect the fighter's brain. Usually they take 1, 2 blows or just a few blows. When someone does, for example, boxing, they get punched, they get punched, they get punched, they get punched. For the athlete's brain, they're getting the impact all over and over, over and over.
When I first saw it, yeah, it was a bit brutal, I have to admit. But after a while, they made it a lot softer and made it more of a sport, which makes it less dangerous for the fighters. If you compare kickboxing versus UFC, honestly, I see kickboxing a little more dangerous.
Let me articulate this. This is Thomas Denny. How you doing? He's a professional no-holds-barred fighter, former Extreme Shoot lightweight champion, and he's currently moving around the international circuit. And he's good standing, and he's good on the ground. He's a real funny guy, too.
Fought Doug Evans for just one of the lightweight matches. Went in thinking the guy was 1-1, and he was more like 9-0. And I fought him, and first part of the fight, I don't know, I still had a little jitters, had a little nerves going on, worrying about my leg. Before you really get into a fight, you want to, analyze your opponent, see what kind of opponent it is. If he's a striker, obviously you're going to go and take him down, work him on the ground. If he's good on the ground, stand up, just analyze each opponent and take it for what it is. I love standing. But the problem is everyone knows I love standing. So as soon as I get in, the first thing they do is they rush me and try to take me down. They don't ever want to stand with me. So I'm still waiting for that perfect opponent to get in, and let's just bang. Let's just go. Most of the time people think, it's going to be a 1-2 punch is going to end something, but usually when you get 2 guys fresh, they're not coming out like street fighters anymore. Everybody's coming in versed, everybody's coming in, well-rounded, they're coming in conditioned, and eventually I just relaxed, took my time, started pounding them a little bit, eventually got the rear naked choke, choked them out for the win, kept going. We go out there, we have a good time, take it as a sport, and whoever wins, wins, and we go and party again afterwards.
My name is Bas Rutten. I was born in Holland. I've been fighting for a while now. I've started when I was 21, pretty late, with Thai boxing, karate, taekwondo. From that I moved on till this type of fighting, and that I started doing professionally at the age of 28. It's in 93. September 1st, 1993. I never forget it. From there, everything started rolling and rolling and rolling. I became the world champion in Japan, pancrase. I defended my title 2 more times. Then I resigned my title. I moved to America. I came into America, and I thought it was time for me to enter the UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Now I'm the world heavyweight champion, and I hope to retire now too and do something in the movies. I think the new martial artist needs to know everything. Needs to know the takedowns, needs to know protecting himself from takedown, striking, submissions, the whole package, because you never know who you're going to fight. I want to be the complete fighter. My motivation for fighting is, I think first for myself. I want to prove I'm the best. I want to be the best.
How the fight game has changed. You're a more educated fighter, more technical fighter, physically stronger, endurance isn't a problem, you know? And you put all these factors together and you come up with a new modern ageless fighter. I'm part of it. I'm part of the new breed of fighter. And not one art by itself is going to stand alone.
Life is martial arts. Everything we do is a form of martial arts. It's a strategy, it's a movement, it's a becoming aware of things. It's all of that. If you want to learn about conflict and violence, study the martial arts because it brings it up. That's what it's supposed to do. So lay it out in front of you and you can begin to see what's behind this.
In the future, people still want to want to good, healthy, their family healthy. So martial art is a very good way to learn because they have a different age, they have different styles, children's style, the old man styles. Also martial arts, we don't need, like the other sports, we want to swim, we need a swimming pool. We want to golf, we need a golf, big log to play the golf. The martial art just you have hands, you can training. If I cannot move, I can still use my heart, learn something internal training martial arts.
What will a student derive from studying the martial arts? The answers could be as numerous and varied as the myriad facets of the discipline itself. Some will walk away with more focused brain power, some simply with a stronger body. To search for the one perfect discipline is an exercise in futility, yet the journey of self-discovery that accompanies every student of martial arts will provide enough exercise for the mind, body, and spirit for a lifetime.